A lot of people think it's wonderful that Finland and Sweden have joined NATO. I think this is the wrong way to think about this. The Russians already feel like they're being encircled by NATO. The Russians will tell you, just look at a map of Europe today. Look at all the countries that belong to NATO and look at how close they are to us. So let's add two more, Finland and Sweden. And then let's look at the Baltic Sea. And you know, the Russians care very much about the Baltic Sea, especially because of Kaliningrad. Right? They care. The Baltic Sea is surrounded by NATO countries now that Finland and Sweden are in. Just take a look at a map sometime. And then even more importantly, there's the Arctic. All that ice is melting. That's opening up all sorts of economic opportunities in the Arctic, and it's presenting strategic problems. There are 8 countries that are geographically located in the Arctic. 7 of them now belong to NATO. The other one, Russia. 1 versus 7. And you know, by the way, the Russians are now approaching the Chinese about getting the Chinese to work with them in the Arctic. And the Chinese, of course, are very willing to do this, right? But the other way of thinking about this is the Russians are outnumbered 7-1. So if a dispute comes up in the Arctic, crisis breaks out in the Arctic, and they're outnumbered 7-1. And most of their conventional forces are in Europe, in Ukraine. I think what they're going to do is rely more on nuclear weapons up there, right? So you just want to remember, when you're dealing with a great power like Russia, and you threaten its survival, you're pushing that great power into a situation where it's going to pursue risky strategies. And this is a great power that has thousands of nuclear warheads aimed at us. And the idea that you can back them into a corner and you can threaten to push them off a cliff is, for me, an incredibly foolish way to think about doing business.